Okay, we're gonna kick it old school with this childhood classic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Tom.
This is Baby's First Watch List, the podcast that is back to school with all the school classics, including the stuffy nose that will probably last 2.5 months.
Yeah, especially now with daycare starting.
It's gonna be a problem.
Yep.
It's gonna be a problem. I took like legit 4 naps today. 4 mini naps.
But here we are.
We're here, and today we are covering 1996's Matilda.
Yeah.
Your favorite name of Michelle Williams and Heath Ledger's daughter.
Yeah.
That's
True.
just her name.
Yeah.
This fantasy family film is adapted from a Roald Dahl novel of the same name. Now, Dahl, he had some stuff going on.
Let's
in
just
his
jump
life,
out in front of this
but,
one. That guy, listen, Roald Dahl is like a world famous, acclaimed children's writer. Also a world famous racist, anti-Semite, you name it, you name it, you name it. We're just going to jump out in front of that now.
Yeah, definitely some personal issues there.
Correct.
But he did write many classic children's novels that you know, including Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, the BFG, which stands for
Big Friendly Giant or something.
Yeah,
like
good
that?
job.
Yeah, I never read it.
Fantastic Mr. Fox, lots of other stuff. He has some really great short stories. Lamb to the Slaughter and The Landlady are excellent.
Yeah.
And his works are known for their dark humor, as well as kind of a focus on children.
And like all the adults are evil. Most of the adults are evil.
There's always 1 or 2 good ones.
But there's also a lot of times there's complexity to them too. Like
Right.
even in this movie, there's complexity to the adults
Yeah.
for the most part.
And despite, some of the other stuff going on, I really love his actual works themselves.
Yeah.
Matilda is one of them. The book is great.
I haven't read the book.
It's excellent. Matilda was directed by Danny DeVito.
Yes.
King.
New Jersey's own. Spoilers for the New Jersey connection.
Don't spoil it.
There's plenty of New Jersey connections in this movie.
I
This movie
didn't-
would not exist without New Jersey.
Okay, but like my Danny DeVito connection is so good. It's really funny. All right, so do you know what Danny DeVito's directorial debut, like film directorial debut is?
Was it Throw Mama from the Train?
It was Throw Mama from the Train.
I've never seen it, but I think my brother likes it.
It was like his third movie. He did like a short film, a TV movie, and
Okay.
then it was Throw Mama from the Train. Yeah. And do you know who wrote Matilda? Did you look this up?
Elia Kazan's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was written by
And
married
what's her name?
couple.
Zoe Kazan's brother.
No, dad.
Oh, dad. Oh, because right. Yes.
Right. So it was written by married couple Nicholas Kazan and Robin Swycord.
Oh, I didn't realize that they were married.
Yeah.
Like Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito.
Exactly. So Nicholas Kazan is Elia Kazan's son and Zoe Kazan's dad. And he was nominated for an Oscar for writing Reversal of Fortune, a movie that is tragically adapted from an Alan Dershowitz book.
Ooh,
Isn't that crazy?
man.
Robin Swycord, believe it or not, a little bit more famous despite her husband's more famous name. She was Oscar nominated for writing The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Oh, wow.
She directed the Jane Austen Book Club, and she also wrote 1994's Little Women and Memoirs of a Geisha.
Wow, that's a lot of good stuff. Like a lot of famous stuff.
Yep. I don't know if she's Zoe Kazan's mom. I didn't actually look that up, but
Oh, I don't know.
my assumption is yes, but I
mean,
might
with
be
Hollywood,
I might be incorrect.
What's her name again?
Robin Swycord.
Yeah, that's her mom.
That's her mom. Cinematographer Stefan Zapsky is known for working with. Do you want to guess which director he's known for working with the most? The cinematographer?
Not Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
Really, it makes sense
Yes.
with DeVito.
Uh-huh.
DeVito was probably like, "Who's your guy?"
Yeah.
because DeVito had come off of Batman Returns a couple years
Well,
prior to
he
this.
did Batman Returns.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
He did Edward Scissorhands and Ed Wood.
I actually thought that Tim Burton was too obvious.
Yeah. Matilda was edited by Lindsay Klingman, known for editing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Brent White, who did like basically all the Judd Apatow, Adam McKay, and Paul Feig movies.
Okay.
So like he did Talladega Nights. He actually got like a lot of props for doing a lot of the Adam McKay movies because he's able to kind of edit together a coherent movie
yes.
from all of the improv.
Yes.
So he actually gets a lot of props for stuff like that. The music was by David Newman.
Oh, yeah.
Who we discussed for The Sandlot.
Yes.
He was Oscar nominated for the score for Anastasia. And of course, he's part of the Newman
Extensive
family.
Newman family of prolific Newman family.
Yes. So Matilda stars Danny DeVito, who also narrates the movie, but like I don't know why.
That's I think my least favorite part of the movie is that
I
DeVito
don't
does
understand it. He plays Matilda's dad.
Yes.
And who's bad.
Yeah. He plays seemingly a separate person as the
separate
narrator.
Person, like a cute narrator that like is always talking about like, oh, Matilda does this.
Now I couldn't find anything on this when I looked it up, but I feel like it had to be a situation where he had somebody else lined up or something, and then they couldn't do it, and he was like, I'll just do it myself.
I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense.
I don't know. It makes no sense.
It's weird. Matilda also stars Danny DeVito's wife at the time, and still technical wife.
And
but
I read that they are closer friends now than they were during their last few years of their official relationship.
Okay. Rhea Perlman, known for Cheers. That's her big role. Mara Wilson, Embeth Davids,
That's what I was gonna go with.
And Pam Ferris.
Yes.
Paul Rubens and John Lovitz have cameos in the film. And Matilda was released in August 1996. It was a critical success. It currently holds a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was not as successful commercially. It didn't make back its budget. It had a $36 million budget, and it only made $33.5 million. Which is surprising to me because I always thought Matilda was like a big...
Oh, yeah.
Like, right?
I remember growing up, I watched it all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a thing because it came out when we were like 4. So maybe it was a thing where like the VHS was big.
Yeah, maybe.
And like everybody, when we first saw it, we were like 7 watching it on VHS, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Like I thought Snow Day was one of the biggest movies ever.
I've never seen Snow Day.
2 musical versions of the novel have been produced. The second being very successful. I saw it in London. I took a theater class, British theater class, and it was like a J term, so like January term. And I went to London and I got to see like 8 plays in 11 days. And one of them was Matilda the musical before it transferred to Broadway. So it was on the West End.
Was anybody famous in it?
I don't think so, but I did see famous people in other stuff.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
No, but it was so good. I loved it.
We don't want to talk about the one famous person that you saw.
Okay, listen. I saw James Corden in One Man, Two Governors, which again I saw it on the West End before it transferred to Broadway. He won the Tony for it. It's excellent. He's excellent in it, and I am sad to say, but I loved him in it. And I was on the James Corden train before he went over across the pond to us and ruined it for all of us.
We're gonna do Cats next week, actually.
We
will do Cats at some point. We will absolutely do Cats.
Yeah, no, I got to see a bunch. I saw Warhorse. That was really good.
Warhorse.
And Matilda the musical was a blast. I loved it, and it's so cool because we read. Part of the class was you read the source material, and we saw 3 like Shakespeare plays and like the whole thing. You read the source material before you see the play and the musical in this case. And I loved it, and it's on Broadway. I don't know if it's still there. And they made a 2022 Matilda the musical movie, which I do want to see.
Yeah, on Netflix.
Because they got the song "We Are Revolting Children." You get it?
Yeah. Yes.
It's cute. So the original illustrator of the book, Quentin Blake, he did a celebration of the book being 30 years old in 2018, and he created images of possible careers for Matilda. Do you want to guess? There's 3 of them. Guess one of them.
Librarian.
Yep. So one of them is a librarian at the British Library, and then there's 2 more.
Teacher.
No, that's a good guess.
Astronaut.
You're right. You're on track. An astrophysicist.
I was gonna say something extremely smart.
And you're also kind of right.
Psychic.
An explorer.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, an explorer, an astrophysicist, and a librarian. At the
teacher would have
British
been. Teacher would have been a throwaway one. Like
yeah.
She's like because it would have been like because she's her surrogate mom is a teacher, so she should be a teacher. It's like no, he went harder than that.
He did. Matilda has seemed to stand the test of time. It's a pretty popular movie. It seems that like definitely among millennials,
Among people our age, for sure.
Matilda's a classic. And Danny DeVito said he's always wanted to direct a sequel, so you never know.
Yeah, I think I watched some stuff with Mara Wilson to prep for this, and I think she said something like she would have been open to, like back in the day, like she was like, oh, I always would have wanted to do it, but I don't know if anything ever.
Yeah, I think
gonna
like
happen.
the last thing they heard of it was from 2019. So
Yeah.
who knows what'll happen. Honestly, there's not a ton of stuff on Matilda.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
So I have that. Do you want me to do my New Jersey connection now or
Yeah,
later?
go for it.
So my New Jersey connection, get connected for free. Free. The New Jersey connection. So Matilda is a Jersey Films production.
Let's go.
Which is Danny DeVito and somebody else's company.
Yeah.
DeVito, he's a New Jersey boy. He was born in Neptune, New Jersey,
Yes.
which we passed by today.
Yes.
And he grew up in Asbury Park, where we were today. Shout out to Cardinal Provisions, the best brunch restaurant in the entire world.
Yep.
We love it. And he he lived a few minutes from the original Jersey Mike's location.
Oh, really?
So
So he's on the billboards too, on
Yes.
the highway.
So he would go there all the time. He loved Jersey Mike's, and in 2022,
That's
he became their
amazing. He's on
spokesman.
he's on the ads. That's great.
Yes.
I love that.
And that's because growing up, he loved the original
Yeah.
Jersey Mike's, which was like Manasquan, Point Pleasant area.
Yeah.
And so he would go there.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and now the rest is history. Now you see him on the ads.
Jersey Mike's, it's okay.
I've never been there.
It's like a step or two above Subway, but like below like your
local deli.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is hard because it is New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the delis are good.
Best state in the union.
The best, New Jersey, the best state in all of the U.S. of A.
Guess what? If you're listening to this, you probably watched Matilda. You wouldn't have watched Matilda without New Jersey.
That's right. And
This is your New
guess
Jersey
what?
propaganda segment.
You got connected for free. The New Jersey connection.
There's another New Jersey connection I have later with DeVito in my trivia. But
Okay.
I'll do that in trivia.
All right. Is your summary long?
Maybe like a couple bullet points longer than I wanted it to be, but it's not bad.
All right, go for it.
All right. 6-year-old genius Matilda, 6.5-year-old genius
6.5.
Matilda Wormwood, played by Mara Wilson, is neglected and mistreated by her used car salesman father Harry, played by Danny DeVito, and her stay-at-home mom Zinnia, Rhea Perlman, as well as her older brother Michael, played by an actor who I did not write down. She finds solace in the public library, but her parents refuse to send her to school, going as far as ripping up her copy of Moby Dick. She's read like all these classics by the time she's 6.5 years old. And making her watch a game show on TV called the $1 Million Sticky.
Yeah.
And they like cover themselves in glue and they like stand in a thing of cash that like blows up and you just get whatever sticks to you.
Yep.
And
I
John
kind of
Lovitz
like
is
that idea.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you about it later. She gets angry and the television explodes. Harry sends Matilda off to Cruncham Hall Elementary School, which is an amazing name, presided over by the principal, Miss Trunchbull, played by Pam Ferris. Other students tell Matilda about Trunchbull's abusive discipline. She throws students out the window by their pigtails and locks them in the chokey, a small cramped closet with spikes resembling an Iron Maiden, which if you don't know is like one of those caskets with the spikes in it that closes. An old torture device. Matilda's teacher, Miss Honey, played by M. Beth Davids, notices her intelligence and requests that she be moved to a higher class, but Trunchbull refuses. The Wormwoods also insult Miss Honey when she visits them to discuss Matilda's academic potential. They just make fun of her, and they're like, books don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Back at Cruncham Hall, Trunchbull has the entire school watch as she makes a boy eat an entire gigantic chocolate cake as punishment for stealing her piece of cake from the school kitchen. Matilda leads the students in cheering, and the boy somehow succeeds. Brucey.
Love him.
Shortly thereafter, Matilda learns that her father is being tailed by the FBI over his illegal car dealings, but her parents don't believe her. She's like, there's literally, the FBI is outside. And
Yes.
they're like, they're not the FBI. Trunchbull realizes that a car that Harry had sold her was faulty, and as a response, she locks Matilda in the chokey. Trunchbull decides to take over teaching Miss Honey's class, and when Miss Honey returns Matilda to class, she telepathically knocks over Trunchbull's water jug, which had a newt in it, placed there by one of the other students, and draws Trunchbull's ire. Miss Honey invites Matilda to her home for tea and tells her story. Her mother died when she was 2, and her father Magnus invited his wife's stepsister, Trunchbull, to live with them. Trunchbull's her aunt, but Trunchbull abused her as a child. Magnus died, apparently by suicide 3 years later, supposedly leaving everything in his will to Trunchbull, but Miss Honey and Matilda aren't so sure. Matilda and Miss Honey sneak into Trunchbull's house to retrieve some of Miss Honey's belongings, but narrowly escape when Trunchbull unexpectedly returns early. Later, Matilda returns to Trunchbull's home to get back a doll from Miss Honey's childhood, but accidentally leaves behind her hair ribbon. The next day, she gives the doll to Miss Honey and shows her powers. When Trunchbull, having recovered the ribbon, tries to make Matilda confess, Matilda telekinetically writes on the blackboard, posing as the vengeful spirit of Magnus, and demanding that Trunchbull give Miss Honey her house and money back. When Trunchbull attacks the kids in a rage, Matilda protects them and the kids throw food at her to run her out of the school for good. Miss Honey moves back into her childhood home, and when the Wormwoods come by to pick up Matilda and flee to Guam to avoid the FBI, Matilda says she wants to be adopted by Miss Honey, and there are papers. Her parents initially say no, but then Zinnia apologizes to Matilda, sort of, kind of sad that she never really connected with her only daughter. Desperate to leave, though, they sign the adoption papers, and Matilda lives happily with Miss Honey, who becomes the principal of Cruncham Hall. Matilda film.
Good movie.
Yeah, very good movie.
I love that movie.
It's great.
Okay, so my first question. Danny DeVito directed Matilda and a couple other things. And I was looking through his Wikipedia page, and there's so much there. What do you think Danny DeVito is known for?
Well, in recent memory, it's got to be It's Always Sunny. Like, most people who are talking about Danny DeVito in 2023 are talking about Frank Reynolds and the absurd abomination, beautiful piece of television that is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
It's a great show.
It is a perfect example of something, and we talk about this all the time.
Oh my goodness.
Of a show that proves it wrong when people say, oh, this could never be made today, about whatever old show from the 60s or 70s or 80s or 90s. Like, you can do anything you want. Look at the 14 seasons that Always Sunny has done. You can do anything. You just have to do it in the right way.
Exactly.
And you have to plan it out correctly.
Exactly.
What is Danny DeVito most known for?
I think that he was known for Taxi.
Taxi, yes.
Which I watched a little bit when I was like really young and I didn't get it.
It was too boring for me as a kid.
Yeah, I feel like I would like it now. I think Judd Hirsch is known for Taxi.
Yeah, there's a few people from it.
And my queen who has the photographic memory, Mary Lou Henner, I think.
Oh yes, your parents told us.
I think Taxi, and then he was in like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and like Batman Returns. He does a lot of like supporting roles, but yeah, everyone just knows Danny DeVito.
He was like wasn't he like one of the circus people in Big Fish too? The other
Yes, he was. He was in Big Fish. So like I feel like
he produced Erin Brockovich.
Yeah, but that's not what he's known for.
No, I know. I'm just naming some. I'm just naming some of his.
He produced Gattaca too.
That's amazing. Well, I'm saying because he was Oscar nominated for producing. Erin Brockovich. Yeah, and then you got like the Arnold stuff, like Twins. Like Twins was like a popular movie at the time, even though it was stupid. Junior, same thing. Like yeah. No, I mean, I feel like he was just around. He was a big like early '90s. Mid-90s sort of personality and actor, and he's very recognizable. Obviously, he's got a ton of personality and charisma.
Yeah,
he's just one of those people I feel like that was just from Taxi and from the things you named. The first two things on his Wikipedia are Taxi and It's Always Sunny.
Yeah,
on his like first sentence.
He's
of
a
Wikipedia.
TV guy.
Yeah,
he's from Jersey Mike's.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, and I just wondered if I missed something.
Well, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Apparently, he played that role when it was off Broadway in the play.
Oh, really?
Which is cool, and then he played it in the movie.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So this was obviously a children's book first. What other children's books do you think would make good movies?
Well, it's funny because I haven't read that many children's books, and a lot of the ones I've read were also movies already. Like the first one that came to mind was recently a movie, A Monster Calls.
Yes.
And the movie was good, but I think I would have done it differently. I think that one deserves a really like defining adaptation.
We love A Monster Calls.
It's if not my favorite book, it's one of my favorite books. I mean, yeah. What do you have?
I really like the Horrible Harry series.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever read those?
Maybe one or two of them. I remember them though.
Harry was so mean and he was horrible.
Oh, horrible.
And I liked that. What about, do you know what would be a really bad book? Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, or a bad movie.
I never read it.
We have 3 copies.
Okay, so maybe I'll get around to it.
And it's just like it's just the letters fall down.
What letters?
The letters that are in the tree.
Oh.
They say chicka chicka boom boom. And the
Yeah,
letters fall down.
That sounds horrendous.
Yeah, I don't really get the book, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't read many kids books, like, and again, like Captain Underpants is already
You went
movies.
straight to the classics,
I
like
did.
Matilda.
I did. No, I didn't read Matilda.
No, I mean like Matilda read the classics.
Oh yeah.
We already have Anne with an E.
Anne with an E is out already.
Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah.
I think I would want a more maybe a more recent Secret Garden. I loved The Secret Garden when I was growing up.
Yeah.
That was a book that I loved reading. I want more like Grimm's fairy tales to be made
I like
into.
those. Those are like borderline not kids books.
I had a whole big thing of them in my closet when I was younger. I'd be so scared.
I'm looking at a list right now. I never read any of these.
What about the Berenstain Bears?
Oh, what about Magic Tree House?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Berenstain
I never
Bears are
really
good.
liked the Magic Tree House.
Me either, but it's on this list. But there's also like the Chronicles of Prydain,
I don't know what that is.
the Deptford Mice series. I don't know what any of this
How
stuff
about
is.
the mixed up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler or whatever?
That could be a thing or not a thing, and I wouldn't know.
That would be awesome.
I believe
Oh,
you.
what about the Westing Game? Did you read the Westing Game?
No.
It's like a mystery.
Junie B. Jones.
Oh, yes. I'm Junie B. Jones. The B stands for Beatrice, except I don't like Beatrice. I just like B, and that's it.
There you go.
I loved the Junie B. Jones series. I think Junie B. Jones is the right answer, actually.
Okay. Yeah,
We
we'll
got
go.
there.
We'll go with
Junie
Junie
B. Jones. The B stands for Beatrice, except I just like B, and that's it. All right, my next question.
What about Walk Two Moons?
Oh yeah, that's good. Sharon Creech.
Yeah,
Yeah, did you read that?
I did read that.
That's a good book.
That's all I got.
Actually, Walk Two Moons is a great option.
That's all I got.
What about Hatchet?
Oh, Hatchet's great. I did read Hatchet.
Everyone's read
Yeah,
Hatchet.
yeah.
Everybody's read Hatchet.
Yeah, Hatchet's great.
How come they've never made a Hatchet movie?
I don't know. We got to do it. We should get it rolling. Let's get DeVito on board.
For
He's from
Hatchet?
New Jersey.
He'll play Brian.
I don't know one of the characters' names. I just remember
Brian.
Hatchet. Okay.
Brian, and then it's the pilot who doesn't make it out.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I don't think Danny DeVito would fit there.
I don't know.
Okay, so we've seen 2 Roald Dahl adaptations. Do you prefer Matilda or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
They're two different vibes to me. They don't overlap at all for me. Like if I want to watch a movie and like I just want to watch a feel good movie, I'm going to watch Matilda. But if I want to sort of be like freaked out a little bit and like I want to just watch Gene Wilder be an absolute madman, I'm going to watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Willy Wonka. And the
Willy
Chocolate
Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Charlie is the Johnny Depp one.
Mm-hmm. And that's the book's title too.
Right.
My answer is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
It's a better movie.
It's a perfect movie to me. I love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
But this movie I think has a just a charming quality to it.
Yeah, sure. It does.
What Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, there's nothing charming about that movie.
Yes, there is.
It's
All the grandparents are in a bed.
that is not charming. That's bizarre.
They eat
It's
like
great.
We just have like rock soup for dinner.
It's great, but what I'm saying is this one is like a feel good movie. Like this movie feels good
How
to
about
watch.
when he goes, the Candyman can? Or how about this, cheer up, Charlie?
There's too much that's suspect about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
What about the grandpa? I love the grandpa. He's charming.
He's garbage.
No, he's not.
He's human trash.
How about all the songs though?
It's a great movie. I'm not picking Matilda over Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I'm saying that they're two different lanes.
I actually think something that Matilda is missing is it's not a musical. So when they make Matilda the musical, I'm like, maybe I have to watch the actual movie musical
We will.
because I don't know which one I'll like better.
Okay.
We'll see. But I think Willy Wonka. I don't know about Wonka though, man.
Oh, Timmy.
I don't know
Timmy
about
Wonka?
Wonka.
We'll see.
Wait,
We'll
what
see.
did the director say? He sounded like Bing Crosby or something?
He sings like Bing Crosby.
Like,
Oh, great! That's what everybody's looking for. Paul King or whoever said that.
yeah, is Timothy Chalamet sounding like Bing Crosby? Who cares? Who knows what Bing Crosby sounds like in the year 2023? Like, okay. Do you like the... All right, well, I have an ulterior motive here with this question.
Okay.
Do you like the song Send Me On My Way? On my way. Send me on my way. On my way.
It's one of those songs that I know is like as objectively bad as as objective as it could be. Is not a good song,
Wait, what? It's not? You don't like Rusted Root?
but it's catchy and it gets stuck in my head.
Yeah.
It's an earworm.
It is an earworm. And
Send me a Noel.
okay, so let me tell you my backstory here. I did not know it was called Send Me On My Way until very, very recently. I always thought it was called Simi and the Whale.
As you can see on our marquee if you're watching on YouTube.
And Simi and the Whale, which fits perfect in the movie Matilda, is about a young boy and his friend who is a whale. And, you know, a lot of the words are hard to hear.
Yeah.
Like and understand. So
It's not enunciated.
It kind of
extremely
makes
well.
sense in the first couple lines, right? Simi's talking. He's like, I would like to reach out my hand. And then then he goes, please. And it's like, I won't tell you to run, because he's talking to a whale. A whale
Right.
can't run
It's true.
because he only swims.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, yeah. And it's
This tracks.
this tracks. And so it's just a nice story about Simi and the whale and the whale, Simi and the whale and the whale, Simi and my whale. It like cuts from like first
the
person
perspective is a little off.
But you know, sometimes it's just, you know, a little poetic license there. We read a wedding website today where the bride switched back and forth from third to first perspective all the time. So you can do it.
She never said she was a professional writer.
Rusted Root, they are though.
They are.
So it was purposeful. And then I found out it actually is not Simi and the Whale.
When did you find this out?
Like, not that long ago. Very, very, very recently. I was shook. It was like when my cousin thought, Can You Take Me Higher? You know the Creed song?
Of course I
She
know the
thought
Creed song.
to a place where lima beats.
But why?
I mean, you don't know. They're Legume fans. I don't know. So, do I like Send Me On My Way, the song? No, I really don't.
It's not. But it gets stuck in my head.
I just don't like songs like that.
It's almost like it gets stuck in my head so much that like I hate it. Whereas it would be inoffensive if it didn't get stuck in my head.
Yeah, I guess they're successful in that way.
Yeah.
Do you like Send Me On My Way better than And I Would Walk 500?
No.
You like that song?
That's a good
That's
song.
like one of the songs of Scotland.
Oh really?
Remember
Oh yeah, we
they
heard it like
kept
a million times.
playing it
Yeah,
when
the
we were in
Proclaimers.
Scotland. I'm like, do we not have any other?
Why would you pick that one?
They would play because it's annoying.
Oh, it is annoying, but I like it. Yeah.
All they played in Scotland was the Proclaimers 500 Miles, Auld Lang Syne, which apparently some Scottish guy wrote, and then the Haggis song.
Yes. Shout out Edinburgh.
All right. Anyway, have you ever had a Miss Honey?
I actually did.
Aw, really?
Yeah, my kindergarten teacher. Shout out Mrs. Daly.
That's so cute.
She was very close with my mom. And they tried to get. This is so annoying. This is such an annoying story I'm about to tell.
Oh no, I know exactly. Oh, skip a grade.
They tried to get me
Matilda
to
Junior over here.
They tried to get me to skip a grade, and like she was very like for it. She like would. We had a part where like the guidance counselor would come in once a week to talk to. I don't know what the class was because
Sure.
I didn't have to go because she let me play games on the computer during
like math games
during
and
that
stuff?
period. It was one of them was a math game where like you would pick up kids on like a bus route. I remember.
Oh, okay.
And it was like MS DOS, like the oldest freaking like most massive computer you've ever seen.
Yeah, I love that.
That ran like super slow.
We did that in GT. We would
Yeah.
have like computer day.
Yeah. And you weren't supposed to do tag. Your GT was my tag until second grade, but she got me into it in first grade. And she was the best. She was great.
Love that.
I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know. I did like lost touch with her, but obviously that would kind of be weird if I didn't. But
Not necessarily. I know a lot of my
true,
elementary school teachers.
true. But yeah, I did kind of have a teacher who was like took me in as like a special student like this.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Love that.
Did you?
I had lots of Miss Honeys. All my teachers were Miss Honeys.
That's such okay.
What? You don't think so?
I'm not saying I don't think so. I think that's it's a little bit it's a platitude.
I love all my teachers. I had great teachers growing up, actually.
I had great teachers too, but this was one that was legitimately like this type of relationship
Okay,
almost.
how about my Aunt Sue?
Yeah, there you go.
She yelled at me once because I was talking too much in class.
Is she going to listen to this?
Probably not. She was great. I hated science, and she made it fun. I dissected an owl pellet in her class. It was gross. All right, let me see what else I got. Okay, so if you had Matilda's powers, what would you do with them?
I have the same question for you. I don't really like. I don't think there's nothing. I would like grab the remote from across the room.
No,
like,
I have an answer.
what is it?
Now that I'm a mom, if I had Matilda's powers, I would cook dinner over there while watching my kid. I would be like, oh, I'm folding laundry, and then my kid's trying to climb stuff because that's what he does, and I'd be like, put him down on the ground.
Why wouldn't you just fold the laundry with telekinetic powers?
Oh, well, no, because then I could like just hang out and meow meow with both of them.
Yeah.
That would probably be what I would do.
It would be pretty useful now that you say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can kind of do things at the same time, which
now that we're adults and like you have to get so much done in a finite period of time.
Yeah,
like I would as I'm feeding him, I'm also like doing the dishes over there.
Yeah, like while I'm watching TV, my telekinesis powers are writing my nasty email to patient first for giving me a bill for $665 when
for a wrong diagnosis.
It's a wrong diagnosis, and I did not deserve this bill, and my insurance says you should only pay $50.
Yeah.
So my telekinesis powers are probably going to write it better than I did.
Yeah, I think these are actually pretty good. It would be a pretty useful power. Yeah. I'm not like when people say like, oh, what superpower would you want to have? Like, I don't really. I mean, mine would be like I had to sleep less. You know what I mean? Like I wish I didn't have to sleep. I wish I
like sleeping.
I'm saying I wish I would be able to sleep by choice, but I didn't have to if I didn't want to.
Mine would be like super speed.
Okay.
Then I can run fast.
I don't know why.
I've never been able to do that in my life. All right, my last question here. So you mentioned Bruce, who Miss Trunchbull,
my chocolate cake king.
Miss Trunchbull makes him eat a whole chocolate cake. Do you got that dog in you? Could you have eaten that whole chocolate cake?
I would just like to say that viewing this movie through a screen visually, Cookie was the lunch lady.
Do you know who she reminded me of?
Who?
I hope you like them extra sloppy.
The lunch lady from Billy Madison. You know, that's like a whole thing with Adam Sandler. Like, he finds the lunch lady so funny because he does that song with Chris Farley on SNL.
Yeah.
Like, he has that's like one of his bits that he just loves. But Cookie made this, presumably.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it smells like.
Yeah, she was like...
Cookie was rough.
Yeah.
You don't know what it tastes like. You don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
You're assuming it's chocolate cake.
But Bruce said, pretty good.
Yeah, but, he's being defiant at the time.
Yeah, true.
I couldn't do it. There's no shot. If it's a real chocolate cake, I can't do it. If it's fake chocolate cake, I can't do it.
Yeah.
There's no shot. I can eat a lot.
Yeah.
I've been on my picture's been on walls in places because of the amount that I've eaten. Shout out Baja Fresh in East Brunswick, New Jersey. It's no longer there, but it was at one point. I couldn't do it. I don't have that dog in me. That's for sure.
I don't think I do either. Do you know what I noticed though when watching this movie?
What?
I noticed that Miss Trunchbull takes a lot of L's.
Miss Trunchbull, yeah. There's 2 in her name.
She don't win.
No.
Like, I thought... like
she falls down the stairs like when she's chasing Matilda and Miss Honey.
Yeah. She doesn't win at all.
No. Her car breaks down, the car that she bought from...
So she's like... I know she's like a little scary, but like...
she does launch a child by her pigtails out like freaking Fresh Prince Jazzy Jeff getting thrown out. And she just clears the giant pointy fence and lands in like the flower bed.
Yeah.
She's very close to murdering a child.
Yeah. No, that is true. But I mean, like,
she throws them in the
chokey.
The chokey, where again, very close to murdering children.
I know, but she loses a lot.
She does. She takes a lot of L's in this movie,
Takes a lot of L.
including the ultimate L at the end.
Yeah.
She gets banished. She
Yep.
gets exiled.
Yep.
Where do you think she went?
Oh, I don't know, like Bermuda. Gotta take
Maybe-
a vacation.
Maybe the Wormwoods will run into her in Guam.
Let me tell you, the educator life is not for the faint of heart. She needs a vacation.
Yeah.
Does she deserve one? Probably not. She probably needs one.
She probably deserves charges.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's all I got for questions.
All right. Would you play the $1 Million Sticky? Which, to remind you, is the game show that they were watching, hosted by John Lovitz, that you cover yourself in adhesives and you get into this big thing where there's money blowing everywhere and you could keep the money.
I would do it if I wasn't being taped.
You would do it if you could just grab the money?
Like
That's a real game.
Like it wasn't going to be on. No. I mean,
oh,
not
it wasn't
taped.
on TV.
If it wasn't on TV.
Well, no, that's the whole point. It's got to be
then
on TV.
No, I don't think I would do it.
I would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the possibility of $1 million, absolutely. I don't
Okay.
care if I made $1,000. That's another $1,000 in the bank account,
We
baby.
kind of need that. So
Please,
I would, you know what?
if the $1 Million Sticky producers are watching this, can you please call me?
on second thought, yeah, I do need to do
John
that
Lovitz.
game.
John Lovitz, if you're out there, please call me. Okay. Did you have a scary principal? No need to name drop right
I honestly didn't. I had good principals. I had Mr. Connor in elementary school. I had Mr. Falcone. I've had good principals as a really nice people as a teacher. I've had like a very good experience with principals overall being nice people. I won Student of the Week a couple times.
Oh, so they bought
So
you.
I got to got to have Pizza Fridays with Mr. Connors, and then our vice principal in high school, she was kind of known as like a
disciplinarian.
strict one, but I really liked her. And let me tell you, she ran graduation practice like it was the Miss America pageant. Like you were not stepping out of place, you were doing that. And guess what? Graduation ceremonies were always wonderful.
Yeah.
So shout out to all of the all the principals and vice principals I had, because they weren't that scary. No.
I had most of mine were great. I mean, they were all. I don't have any problems with any of them. I didn't get in trouble. I wasn't like a bad kid like that either. So, my one story though is, I had my high school principal. He was an older white guy. His name was James Brown, which we always thought was funny. But he had like a goatee.
You didn't even go by Jim.
No, Jim Brown also.
I know.
We all. He had like a goatee, and like he looked scary.
Yeah.
But then we went on the senior trip to Disney, and like you were hanging out with him. He was wearing a
it's more
Miller Lite
fun.
like t-shirt. He saw like cut off t-shirt. He had like his tattoo on his arm, and
Yeah.
he was just hanging out. He was great.
That's fun.
But he was like that type where you're like, oh my god, this guy's kind of don't mess with this guy. But no, he was great too. They were all great.
That's fun.
Yeah. Do you think Miss Honey is a good teacher?
Yes, I do. Very
Okay.
much so. She differentiates. She is enthusiastic. She gets the kids engaged. She really likes it, and her passion comes through. I think she's an excellent teacher.
I wasn't sure because she does favor Matilda quite a bit.
You know what? But you see this through Matilda's eyes,
True.
where, yes, she's going. I don't think she's necessarily favoring. I mean, yeah, she ends
Well,
up
she goes to
adopting her.
Matilda's house
but-
and says this kid's gonna go to college, and her parents are like, get out of here.
Yeah, no, but you have to think about it this way. Miss Honey probably realizes that Matilda is someone who's not getting any support at home.
Right.
So sometimes certain students, you don't favor them, but you are able to kind of gauge what they need.
She also engaged in breaking and entering with
Listen,
Matilda.
I'm just saying in the classroom,
Okay.
just like with our
21 Jump
Jump
Street.
Street episode, I think Miss Honey is a very good teacher, yes.
Okay, that's cool. Did this movie scare you as a kid like it did me?
No, I don't remember. I actually found it pretty frightening this time around. When they were in the house, it was scary.
Yeah. Miss Trunchbull scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah, and now you watch it and she's just iconic.
The Trunchbull, as they
She's
called her.
iconic.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a character, obviously not
yeah.
a principal.
Pam Ferris is great
Amazing.
in this role.
Amazing. Very funny, very camp. I loved it.
They said that on set she tried to like put up the facade with the kids, and tried to get them to dislike her. But then at one point later in the shooting, one of the kids like walked up to her and like held her hand, and she was like kind of like broke down like how like cute it was, and she said that she was glad that they knew that she was like
Nicer.
a nice person.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And Mara Wilson said that she was great.
That's like when Margaret Hamilton went on Mr. Rogers because she didn't want all the kids to think she was the Wicked Witch
Yes.
in
Yes.
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was the actress that played Nurse Ratched?
Louise
Fletcher.
Fletcher.
She did other things to differentiate herself from the role, which I will not talk about in this podcast.
Yes.
But she was hilarious, apparently.
Yes.
Okay. My last question. When Matilda figures out control of her powers, she shows Miss Honey in the classroom, and she's like bringing down the maps and she's doing all that stuff. And she says, "No more Miss Nice Girl." Is Matilda nice?
Okay, so here's the thing. Matilda, I think, is good.
I think she's good-hearted.
I think she's good-hearted. I think that she's
weathered from the Wormwood family.
Yes. And I think that is reflected in some of her actions.
Yes.
Is she nice? No, I mean, to her peers she is.
I wouldn't say particularly.
Yeah. I mean,
She's a nice kid.
she's fine.
Yeah.
But
It's not like, I wouldn't say that that's one of her qualities.
she also does some like stuff that I'm like, girl,
She does.
like that's
Matilda's wild.
like that's like bad.
The first thing she thinks is revenge,
Yes.
which is great.
Yeah. Like that's her first inclination is revenge. She like is so mean to her dad, who's abusive towards her. So like,
yeah,
I
of
totally
course, of course.
understand it.
She's like
But-
gluing his hat to his head.
Yeah,
and-
but and then she like laughs.
yeah.
Is that nice? No. Do I understand why she does it? Of course.
Yeah.
Is it nice?
Yeah.
No.
It's like when she said that, I was like, was it Miss Nice Girl before? I was like, how bad is this going to get?
That's funny.
Yeah, so those are my questions. I have a couple notes. Actually, I kind of have another question here. I said the hospital bill when Matilda was born was $5,000. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know, man. lucky that.
Oh, man. I wrote the
We
narrative.
we had great insurance at the time.
Oh, yeah. Trunchbull's motto is such a great villain intro. One of the first things she says was, "Use the rod, beat the child."
Like what?
We talked about I think it was in the Shrek episode, like way long ago. A great and effective villain intro because of the way that what's his name is introduced in Shrek,
Yeah.
the bad guy,
Farquaad.
Lord Farquaad. This is up there with that.
It's just it's one
see
of those
her-
things that's so exaggerated and so obviously
Yes.
wrong
Yes,
that it's like this is a villain. This is a bad
yes.
bad character.
And you see her because she's in the shop with Danny. I almost said Frank with Danny DeVito.
Yes.
But you see them through like behind a window, so they're just shadowed, and you just see like her nose and like you just see her sort of silhouette,
Mhm.
and you're like, that lady's evil.
Yeah.
Use the rod, beat the child.
Yep.
I wrote the cake scene with Bruce is like when you cook our baby enough food to have for lunch the next day, and then by the time he's done eating, it's all gone.
Yeah, he likes to eat.
He loves to
man.
eat.
I'm shooketh. Like I see things on Instagram of like what my baby ate for like the past 24 hours. My kid eats like 4 times that. like
He doesn't
what?
stop.
He just doesn't stop. He must have had 50 bombas today. 50. They're like
And he keeps going, more.
more. Like imagine they're like Cheetos, like big puffy Cheetos, but they're peanut butter instead of
Yeah.
cheese. He
He goes ham.
goes ham on that. He ate a ton of them today.
So many.
And
And
he's
he'll eat more tomorrow.
So today at Cardinal, he had bombas, he had water, he had eggs, cacio e pepe scrambled eggs.
My
He
boy
had-
eats good.
He had avocado, he had toast, he had ricotta toast with raspberry jam, and he had chuchos, which is a pastry, like a lemon stuffed cinnamon sugar pastry. He had all that.
That probably explains why he was nuts today, because of the sugar between the jam
Oh,
and
that's probably right.
the cinnamon sugar.
Yeah. He had mac and cheese with peas. He had yesterday for dinner he had macaroni and cheese.
Oh boy.
He had meatballs. He had
Yeah, he popped off.
some kind of veggie. I forget what
And
veggie
then he had a peanut butter sandwich.
And he had a peanut butter sandwich today.
Yeah. All right. Oh, we got 2 comments on our Instagram page. One is from Seeing Faces in Movies, who we talked about last week, who asked us a question, and they said, every time I see chocolate cake, I think of this movie, which is
That's fun.
amazing. And then we got one from another podcast called Movie Friends,
Mm-hmm.
and I listen to their stuff pretty often. They're another great podcast. The concept is The guy is big into movies and the girl's not, and so the guy and their friends, they're both married and like they just hang out and talk about movies that he's like curating her movie experience.
Love that.
Yeah. So they said, awesome movie, and Send Me on My Way is still in my head almost 30 years later.
There you go.
Plays twice in this movie, so
Yeah.
every time you watch this movie, you get it twice. Yeah, so that's our...
Did I do that for you back in the day? Like, was I your movie friend?
Sure, yeah.
Like, told you about movies?
Yeah.
And now you've watched so many more movies.
Yeah.
Now you're the movie friend.
Yeah, but I don't really tell you about all of them.
Yeah, and I don't need to know.
Yeah, so let's see. What do we got here? We'll do the Roger Ebert review.
Okay.
What did he give it?
3.
3 stars out of 4. I just wrote a little bit from what he said today on his review from 96. He said, Roald Dahl was, by all accounts, a singularly unpleasant person, which may explain why he wrote stories that are so fascinating to children. He nursed the grudges of childhood, he distrusted adults, and he was unmoved by false sentimentality. Kids may not feel cuddled by his books, but they sense Dahl is the real thing. He's writing out of strong emotion and not just to be cute. Consider the character of Trunchbull. Trunchbull must be a woman because she is someone's aunt, but she is never called Miss, and we see at once that Mrs. would be out of the question. She was a champion shot putter and hammer thrower in the 1972 Olympics, we learn, before moving on to her current career as the school principal at Cruncham Hall, a fearsome grade school with the motto, when you are having fun, you are not learning.
Yes.
Later on, he ends by saying, there is never a moment, except towards the happy ending, that we sense DeVito, as a director, is anything other than quite serious about this material. He goes with Dahl's macabre vision. Whatever it was that hurt Dahl so deeply, he never forgave it, and his stories like James and the Giant Peach and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory are driven by it. DeVito seems to vibrate on the same wavelength. Matilda doesn't condescend to children, it doesn't sentimentalize, and as a result, it feels heartfelt and sincere. It's funny, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love you, Roger Ebert.
Pretty spot on description of the movie. Tom's top 5 trivia.
Dun, dun, dun.
The picture, so in Trunchbull's house, there's like a big portrait of Magnus that you see when she's like, "Oh, that's my dad." That's Roald Dahl.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they got him into the movie that way. In the making of segment on the DVD, Danny DeVito said that for the chalk to write by itself at the end to Trunchbull, they wrote the letters backwards on the opposite side of the chalkboard, and then they put a magnet on the chalk. So they had someone stand behind the chalkboard and write the words backwards with a device that attracted the magnet, so it pulled it out.
That's the stuff I love.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, if it was today, they'd just CGI it or whatever. Like,
yeah.
I love
the
that.
practical effects.
So cool.
So here's the one I was referring to earlier. In one of the ending ruckus scenes, a lunchbox is seen flying to the floor with the title, Greetings from Asbury Park, on it. This was the debut studio album of Bruce Springsteen.
Woo, my guy.
Not only are Springsteen and DeVito very good friends, but Danny, like Bruce, is a lifelong resident of Asbury Park, New Jersey.
He wasn't,
Bruce
but that's
wasn't.
fine.
Yeah.
Oh, DeVito was, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was like saying he's from New Jersey, but he's from Asbury Park.
Of course.
The rules of Cruncham Hall, according to the poster in Miss Honey's classroom. 1, no talking. 2, no laughing. 3, no whispering. 4, no gum chewing. 5, no late homework. 6, no running in the halls. 7, no pigtails. 8, no eating. 9, no coloring. 10, no praying. 11, no playing. 12, no daydreaming. 13, no fun. 13
No
rules.
fun.
13 rules. How great is that?
I love that it ends with no fun.
No fun. I like no praying, no playing.
That's cute.
Like, there is no God in this classroom either.
There's no nothing in that classroom, man.
Yeah.
In Crutcham Hall.
Yeah. I'm actually going to skip the 5th one because I'll just do that as my sort of deep dive part. But I will skip to casting. DeVito wanted the Olsen twins because, of course, who wouldn't have wanted the Olsen twins at this point? They were filming It Takes Two.
Oh, great. Oh, we got to do an Olsen twin movie.
We will soon.
Billboard Dad.
Some of the people who were considered for Harry were Bob Hoskins, Tim Allen, Joe Pesci, John Goodman, De Niro, Chevy Chase, and Bill Murray. And
Bob
DeVito,
Hoskins, though.
Bob Hoskins would have
Wow.
been so good.
I'm in.
Shout out.
DeVito was great, though.
Shout out Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Love that movie.
For Miss Honey, this one is obvious to me. Winona Ryder was considered and offered the role.
Yeah.
She turned it down because she was doing The Crucible.
Oh, okay.
Rosie O'Donnell was also considered.
Oh,
would
interesting.
have been a different take. Helen Hunt, Tori Amos were considered, and Mariska Hargitay turned it down.
Oh, wow. I love the Miss Honey that was cast. She was wonderful.
Yeah, she's great. Miriam Margolyes, is that how you say her name? And Kathy Bates were considered for Miss Trunchbull. Kathy Bates is like,
Kathy
Bates is like the platonic ideal of Miss Trunchbull.
Yeah.
You know, like if you were just thinking of it.
And Emma Thompson plays her in Matilda
she's a good
musical.
one too. I'm sure she's great. So, what do I got? That's it. I just have the other. Oh, the taglines. I missed the taglines.
Yeah.
There's 3. None of them really. All right. One of them is a little magic goes a long way.
That's cute.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Number 2, somewhere inside all of us is the power to change the world.
That's weird.
3, my favorite. Kids rule.
Yeah.
Kids rule.
Kids rule.
I love that. And in capital R. Kids rule. Okay. So my final piece of trivia, looping back to it, is also my deep dive segment. And it is more serious. So buckle up. Where did I go? Okay. So many kids our age connected with Matilda, and I think it's because the movie has more pathos than normal, and like Roger Ebert said, is not like overly sentimental or saccharine. I know this movie resonated with me personally a lot. I watched it a bunch as a kid, and it's because it's a great story, of course, but watching it now, it's kind of because I find that Mara Wilson is really genuine and authentic as Matilda, where you don't really get that from a lot of kid actors, especially like of her who 8 years old or whatever she was. I find that I often connect with great art because the performers connect with great art. And Mara Wilson is such a great Matilda in part because you fully buy her connection to the role and that she's a kid who is struggling to find her place. This is in large part because, as she's talked about, the period in which she shot the film was an extremely difficult time for her. Her mom, Susie Wilson, used to read the book Matilda in her brother's classrooms when she was a kid. And one of her earliest memories was being sick. She said she had like a cold or an ear infection or something. And her mom brought her along to the class so she could kind of like cozy up in the back of the room with a blanket while her mom read the story to the class. Around the time the 7-year-old Mara got cast in the movie version of Matilda, Susie was diagnosed with breast cancer. It seemed like a really horrible version, like, you know, chemo, radiation, mastectomy, stem cell stuff. Like they were doing everything. And in the 90s, which was before a lot of this stuff was really as developed as it is even now. Susie, nevertheless, kept bringing Mara to set and was, by all accounts, as attentive and everything as prior to her diagnosis. Her dad, Mike, was a TV broadcast engineer. They lived in Burbank, California. And he helped Susie focus on the 5-month shoot by... He switched his hours at work so that he could be home to make dinner, do laundry, take care of their other kids, because she has a few siblings. I think she has like 3 or 4 siblings. By all accounts, the set was a safe haven for the Wilsons where they could kind of go to get away from the hardships of life for a little while. And 2 people who played a huge part in that were Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman. Mara said that she immediately struck up a connection with Danny DeVito and that they just sort of just understood each other. He would give her a hug at the beginning of every shooting day, and she said that he felt like her favorite uncle.
Aw.
Not only that, it's funny because they're totally the opposite of the characters in the movie.
Yeah.
Not only that, but Mara told Entertainment Weekly that during the times that her mom was in the hospital and her dad was working, DeVito and Perlman would do all these activities with her. They would take her out to plays and movies, and sometimes she would just like hang out at their house and like they would have like a pool party. So they did a ton for her to sort of get her through and help the parents out and everything. And she said that she didn't realize that what they were doing until later.
Sure.
You know, because when you're a kid, it's just, I'm going to, Uncle Danny's house or whatever.
Right.
She said that there were so many people on set that loved her and wanted to make sure that she was doing okay while her mom was fighting her illness. And shortly after filming wrapped in April of 1996, Susie Wilson passed away from her cancer at the age of 42. At the time, Mara was upset because she thought that Susie never got to see Matilda, which was kind of the fruits of her labor at that point. But DeVito told her years later that he got to show her a rough cut while she was in the hospital.
That's nice.
Which was amazing, and I can imagine like very cathartic. And not only that, but in the credits, there's a dedication to Susie. Right after it says directed by Danny DeVito, and then it says dedicated to Susie Wilson. Mara's real life ties in with Matilda in a couple of meaningful ways. First, a child dealing with trauma gained immense powers. In Matilda's case, her telekinesis, but in Mara's case, her ability to kind of reach through the screen and connect on a personal level with so many people for so many years. I mean, we're in 2023. We're still talking about this movie. And the other, I watched a YouTube video essay about Matilda's focus on birth family versus chosen family, and I meant to write down the account, but I did not write down the account. Quality Culture is the account. They do a ton of video essays, so shout out to them. And I agree with the premise that sometimes family members have to continue to earn each other's love, and a person has every right to fill in any gaps with chosen family. Mm-hmm. And so Matilda's chosen family in the movie, which is Miss Honey, provides an escape for her from the terrors of an awful biological wormwood family. And Matilda, the same for Miss Honey against Miss Trunchbull, even though she's not biological, but whatever. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, behind the scenes, Mara Wilson's perfectly great, resilient family was supported and buoyed by her chosen family, DeVito and Perlman. It's a great example of art imitating life, like unintentionally, because it wasn't written like to follow her. Like it was already written when all this was going on. And I think that, to me, Mara's experiences seem to have shaped her performance and allowed for her to kind of grab the hearts of kids and adults alike in a way not many child actors or actors in general have been able to do. Mm-hmm. And here we are again after almost 30 years later, still talking about Matilda. And there's a lot that's great about this movie, I think so much of it has to do with Wilson's performance and the support she received from her loving parents and her loving surrogate aunt and uncle. Such a beautiful story.
Beautiful. Good job, Tom.
Yeah.
Good deep dive.
Yeah. I loved reading about it. I was like getting emotional.
Aw.
Yeah. Because if you don't know, like my mom passed away from cancer 6 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't 7 or 8 years old, so I can't even imagine what it was like then. But there's a very, like, I got it. I understood what she was going through because my mom got sick when I was 12 or around
13.
13. So, like, I get I had many people like this who were, I was able to go to their house every day or whatever. Like, my mom wasn't even sick like that. It was even before she got really sick. So, like, there were so many people who stepped up for me. So I totally identify with what was going on here. And I'm just glad that, obviously I love Danny DeVito, so I'm glad that he seems to be a good one,
Yeah.
There's so many people that are like, that let you down when you sort of, look up to them as actors or musicians or whatever, celebrities.
And then there's Frank Reynolds.
Crawling oiled up out of the couch.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I really liked learning about all this and finding out that Danny's a real one.
That's great. Love that.
Yeah, so that's it. That's all I've got on Matilda, I believe. Does Matilda make Baby's First Watch List?
Yeah.
Imagine this. After, what is this, our 64th movie?
Maybe not.
We've gone through quite a few that we haven't. Like, 8 Crazy Nights made it.
We're doing Twilight next week.
Which, spoilers, yeah. Twilight's making the list. But yeah, Matilda definitely makes it. What are your takeaways? This whole movie's a takeaway, I feel like.
Oh, there's lots of takeaways. How about follow your arrow if you are...
Shout out Casey Musgraves.
Yeah, shout out to Casey Musgraves. Follow your arrow. If you're if you believe in something, if you're interested in something, pursue it. Like, Matilda wants to go to school, wants to be someone who betters herself through learning, and she does it.
Yeah, she absolutely does.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my takeaway would be, like, don't let me tear up your Moby Dick book. Yeah. Also, don't glue my hat to my head. This is why I don't wear hats. Also, don't dye my hair.
Yeah.
Also, if you're at the point where you want your teacher to adopt you, I feel like we should talk about it.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So that's Matilda. Matilda's great.
Good movie.
Great movie. Next week we will be doing Twilight. We're here. We made it. You made it to episode 65. We're doing Twilight.
I'm excited.
Catherine Hardwicke, the queen.
I do love Catherine Hardwicke, I gotta say.
Pattinson, Stewart, Lautner.
It's Pattinson and Stewart at their absolute lowest.
At their bottom.
Lowest acting performances.
Absolute bottom. They're both great. I will
love
defend
them. We
next
love
week.
Them.
Next week, if you're not a Kristen Stewart fan because of all you've seen her in is Twilight and maybe one or two other things, we will be defending Kristen Stewart next week.
Yeah. I was on back in the day. I was not a big Kristen Stewart fan, and now
I will tell you about next week the movie that opened it up for me.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah,
and Pattinson's just an icon.
Pattinson's the best,
and Catherine Hardwicke is actually great.
Oh yeah, Catherine Hardwicke is great.
Yeah,
that's not even a joke.
No, she is.
Yeah, so we will talk about Twilight next week, and also next week we will be already giving out our schedule of October movies.
October movies.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe we'll have a special guest one week.
It's possible.
It's possible.
It's ruminating.
It's maybe.
I'll have to get back in touch with them.
Yeah, it's a maybe.
Yeah. All right. So this was Matilda. Next week is the one you've been waiting for.
Twilight. How did we get here?
I'll be wearing a baseball jersey next week, no doubt.
Okay.
All right. So we will see you next week, and keep following and all that. And, yeah, see you later.
Bye.